A Werewolf Shifter Romance. Written by Amelia Hart. Chapter 1. Blood in the Snow. The wind cuts through the mountain pass with teeth sharper than any blade Bryn has ever known. Each gust tears at her wool cloak, tries to rip the basket of herbs from her frozen fingers. She should have turned back an hour ago, when the first flakes began to fall. Should have listened to the voice in her head that whispered warnings about winter storms and foolish errands. But the fever had already taken 2 children in the lower village. Without wolfsbane, it would claim more before the week ended. Snow gathers in the creases of her leather boots, melts against skin already numb from cold. The forest around her stands silent, trees bent beneath accumulating ice. No birds sing, no creatures rustle through the underbrush. Everything with sense has found shelter. Everything except her. Bryn pulls the cloak tighter, squinting through the swirling white. The wolfsbane grows near the frozen stream, tucked beneath the overhang of stone, where spring water keeps the ground from freezing completely. She had found it last winter, marked the location in her mind. The purple-blue flowers would be dormant now, but the roots remained potent, more potent even, in the deep cold. Her breath clouds the air in short bursts. 2 more ridges. Then the descent to the stream bed. The thought of her cabin keeps her moving. Warm hearth. Dried venison hanging from the rafters. The bed piled high with furs that still smell faintly of smoke and pine. She has been alone there for 2 years now. Ever since the battle that took Henrik and half the men from the village. Ever since she stopped being able to bear the pitying looks, the whispered concerns, the widows who tried to fold her into their circle of grief. Better to be alone. Better to be useful. The wind shifts, and she catches a sound beneath its howl. Something high and thin. Almost like... Bryn stops walking. Listens. There, again. A whimper, barely audible over the storm. Her heart kicks against her ribs. An animal, probably. Caught in the weather, seeking shelter just as desperately as she needs to reach the wolfsbane. The smart thing would be to ignore it. Keep moving. Collect what she came for and hurry home before the storm worsens. But the sound comes again. Weaker this time. Fading. Cursing under her breath, Bryn turns toward the noise. Her boots sink deep into fresh powder as she pushes through a stand of snow-laden pines. Branches dump their burden on her head and shoulders. Ice slides down the back of her neck. The whimpering grows louder, more desperate. She finds it in a small clearing, half buried in snow. A wolf pup, golden fur matted with blood and ice. Its rear leg twisted at an unnatural angle, caught in the cruel jaws of an iron trap. The metal teeth have bitten deep, and crimson stains spread across pristine white in blooming circles. Bryn's stomach clenches. Trappers, probably the same ones who have been working the Northern Territory, despite the laws against hunting this far into the mountains. They set their traps and forget them, leave creatures to die slowly in the cold. The pup's eyes find hers. Pale gold, almost amber, far too aware for an animal that should be mad with pain and fear. It does not snarl or snap, does not try to drag itself away. It simply watches her, those strange eyes holding an intelligence that makes her skin prickle with unease. She should leave it. Wolves are dangerous, even young ones. In a few months, this pup would be large enough to bring down a deer. In a year, it could threaten livestock. Could threaten her. The pup whimpers again. A sound so pitiful it cracks something in her chest. Bryn drops to her knees beside it, setting down her basket. The trap is old but well made, designed to hold until the trapper returned. She pulls off her mittens, works her fingers into the mechanism. The metal is so cold it burns, but she finds the release lever and presses hard. The jaws spring open with a snap. The pup yelps, tries to scramble away, but its injured leg gives out. It collapses into the snow, panting, sides heaving. Blood flows freely now from the wound, bright and hot against the ice. Without thinking, Bryn strips off her cloak and wraps the pup in it, bundling the small body against her chest. The wolf weighs more than expected. Solid muscle beneath soft fur. It trembles against her, but makes no move to bite. Those golden eyes watch her face with an intensity that should not exist in any animal. What are you? The thought whispers through her mind, but she pushes it away. The wolfsbane will have to wait. This creature will bleed out before she makes it to the stream and back. Her cabin is closer. She has supplies there. Clean water, thread and needle, herbs to prevent infection. If she hurries, they might both survive this storm. Bryn turns back the way she came, the pup's weight warm against her heart. The wind screams approval or warning. She can no longer tell which. By the time she reaches her cabin, her arms burn with effort and cold. The pup has stopped whimpering, gone limp and quiet in its cocoon of wool. For a terrible moment she thinks it has died, but she feels the flutter of breath against her neck, shallow but steady. She kicks open the door, stumbles inside. The remains of her morning fire glow faintly in the hearth. She lays the pup on the table, unwraps it carefully. The wound is worse than she thought. The trap had not just crushed, it had torn. Bone shows white through mangled flesh. Her hands move with certainty born of 2 years alone. 2 years of being the only person within miles who knew how to clean a wound or set a break. She builds up the fire first, sets water to boil. Then she gathers her supplies, clean linen, needle and gut thread, dried yarrow for the bleeding, comfrey for the bone, honey to prevent festering. The pup watches her through half-closed eyes. Does not struggle when she begins to clean the wound, though it must hurt terribly. Does not bite when she sets the bone, feeling the pieces grind together beneath her fingers. It only makes a small, broken sound deep in its throat, and something in that sound reminds her of Henrik in his final moments. She works through the night, until the wound is cleaned and stitched, the leg splinted with thin strips of willow bark. The pup sleeps finally, its breathing deep and even. Bryn slumps into her chair by the fire, exhaustion dragging at her bones. Outside, the storm rages on. Inside, warmth seeps back into her frozen limbs. The cabin smells of blood and herbs, smoke and snow. On the table, the golden pup twitches in dreams, and Bryn wonders what she has brought into her home. What strange creature lies in her cabin, wrapped in bandages and firelight? And why, when she looks into those two intelligent eyes, does she feel as though something fundamental has shifted in the world? The fire burns low. Bryn closes her own eyes, just for a moment, just to rest. When she wakes, dawn light filters through the shutters, pale and weak. The pup still sleeps, its chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. The splint holds. The bleeding has stopped. She checks the stitches, finds them clean and tight. Good. It might survive after all. Bryn moves through her morning routine, feeding the fire, preparing thin broth from dried meat. The pup wakes when she approaches, flinches at first, then relaxes when she sets down a bowl of water. It drinks greedily, lapping with a pink tongue, those golden eyes never leaving her face. Intelligent. Too intelligent. She has seen wolves before, even treated an injured one years ago when she was learning her craft. But none of them looked at her the way this one does. None of them seem to understand her words when she speaks softly, telling it to stay still, to rest, to heal. This one tilts its head when she talks, responds to the tone of her voice, watches her hands as she works, as though memorizing every movement. Impossible, she tells herself, and yet every time he looks at her, she feels that impossibility cracking. But another part, the part that has been alone too long in this cabin, finds strange comfort in those watchful eyes, in the presence of another living thing that depends on her, needs her. 3 days pass. The storm continues, burying the world in white. Bryn tends the pup, changes its dressings, coaxes it to eat small amounts of meat. It heals faster than it should. By the 3rd day, it can put weight on the injured leg. And always, it watches her with those eyes that hold far too much understanding. Miles away, in a fortress of stone and shadow, Håkon stares at the empty bed in his son's chamber and feels panic claw at his chest. Eric is gone. The realization had come at dawn, when guards noticed the window standing open, snow piling on the sill. His 12-year-old son, the heir to every shifter pack in the northern territories, had climbed down the fortress wall and disappeared into the wilderness. Because of him. Because Håkon had pushed too hard, demanded too much, seen only the future king, and forgotten the frightened boy. The words from their argument echo in his mind. You want me to be a soldier, not your son. Håkon had not known what to say, had stood there, silent, while Eric's eyes filled with tears he refused to shed, while his boy turned and ran. Now Viggo stands beside him, red-haired and grim-faced, waiting for orders. Assemble a small group. Our most trusted. No one else can know. Viggo nods. My king, the storm, I know. We go anyway. Because somewhere out there, his son is alone and hurt and afraid. Håkon can feel it through the blood bond they share, that ancient connection between alpha and heir. Pain, sharp and bright, followed by strange calm that worries him more than panic would. He will find his son. He will bring him home. The wind howls outside the fortress walls, and Håkon steps into it, following the fading thread of his son's presence northward into the storm. Chapter 2. Crossing Paths. The village sits in a valley between two mountain ridges, small and weathered and stubborn in the way of northern settlements that have survived 100 winters. Smoke rises from stone chimneys. Voices carry on the cold air, muffled by distance and snow. Håkon watches from the tree line, his breath forming clouds in the frigid morning. 4 days since Eric disappeared. 4 days of following a trail that grows fainter with each passing hour, obscured by fresh snowfall and his own growing desperation. The bond tells him his son lives, tells him Eric is somewhere north of this place, hidden among the peaks. But the bond does not tell him exactly where, and the mountains stretch for leagues in every direction. He needs information, supplies, a sense of whether anyone in this village has seen a boy traveling alone, or a wolf with golden fur, my lord. Viggo appears at his shoulder, silent as always despite his bulk. Should we split up? Cover more ground? No. Håkon's voice comes out rougher than intended. We stay together. Draw less attention that way. The captain nods, understanding without needing explanation. A group of armed warriors would raise questions in a village this size. 2 travelers, one clearly a merchant by the quality of his furs and the weight of his coin purse, would barely merit a second glance. They had left the others camped in the forest, waiting. Håkon could not risk bringing his full guard into a human settlement, could not risk word spreading that the northern lords were searching for something in the mountains. Some secrets were too dangerous to expose. The village proper consists of perhaps 30 buildings clustered around a central square. A blacksmith works his forge despite the cold, hammer ringing against iron. Women carry water from the well, bundled in layers of wool and fur. Children dart between houses, their laughter high and bright. Normal, peaceful, unaware that a shifter air walks among their mountains. Håkon and Viggo make their way to the largest structure, a long hall that serves as both tavern and meeting place. Inside, warmth hits them in a wave. A fire roars in the central pit. Men sit at rough tables, drinking ale and speaking in low voices. The conversation stutters when they enter, eyes tracking the strangers with cautious curiosity. Håkon removes his hood, lets them see his face, lets them see the silver threaded through his beard, the bearing of someone accustomed to command, someone with money to spend. The tavern keeper approaches, wiping his hands on a stained apron. Welcome, travelers. Storm catch you unprepared? Something like that. Håkon settles onto a bench, gestures for ale. We are searching for my nephew, a boy of 12, fair-haired. He ran off after an argument with his father. We believe he came this way. The keeper shakes his head slowly. Have not seen any boys traveling alone. Not in this weather. He would freeze to death out there. Perhaps someone took him in. Gave him shelter. Perhaps. But folks here would have mentioned it. Not many strangers pass through in winter. Håkon accepts the ale, drinks to cover his frustration. 4 days, and still nothing. No sign. No word. Only that persistent pull northward through the bond, constant and unchanging. Viggo leans forward, his voice casual. We heard tell of a woman who lives alone in the mountains. A healer of some kind. Would she take in a lost boy? The keeper's expression shifts, becomes guarded. the widow Bryn keeps to herself, has done since her man died at Iron Ridge. She comes down for supplies now and then, but mostly stays away. Could you send word to her? Ask if she has seen. She does not welcome visitors. The keeper's tone brooks no argument. And with respect, sirs, you should not be wandering the high country in winter. The passes are deadly once the storms come. Håkon sets down his cup with careful precision. We will take that under advisement. He catches Viggo's eye, sees his own thoughts reflected there. A woman living alone in the mountains, north of the village. A woman who knows the terrain, who might have found a boy or a wolf in need of help. Worth investigating. The tavern door swings open, bringing a gust of wind and snow. And something else. A scent that makes every instinct in Håkon's body snap to attention. Eric. Faint. Days old. But unmistakable. A woman enters, stamping snow from her boots. She is smaller than the other villagers, lean in the way of someone who works hard and eats little. Her hair hangs in a dark braid down her back, and her eyes, gray as winter ice, scan the room with quick efficiency before settling on the tavern keeper. Bryn. The keeper's greeting holds warmth. Did not expect to see you so soon. Ran low on thread. She sets a basket on the bar, begins removing bundles of dried herbs. And I need salt. Flour if you have any to spare. Her voice is low, steady, carrying none of the deference most human women show in the presence of strange men. She does not look at Håkon or Viggo, but he senses her awareness of them, sees the slight tension in her shoulders, the way her hand stays close to the knife at her belt. Smart. A woman alone learns to be cautious. The scent of Eirik clings to her clothes, mixed with herbs and smoke, and something he cannot quite identify. She has been near his son, recently, within the last day or two. Håkon rises slowly, careful not to appear threatening. Forgive the intrusion. I could not help but overhear. You live in the mountains? Those gray eyes finally turn to him, and the impact is unexpected. Sharp. Assessing. She takes in his fine furs, his weapons, the way Viggo hovers protectively at his back, makes her judgment in the space of a heartbeat. I do. We are searching for a lost boy. 12 years old, fair hair. Have you seen anyone matching that description? No. The answer comes too quickly, too firmly. She is lying, or at least hiding something. What about animals? Håkon presses. We heard there was a wolf in the area, possibly injured. The boy had been tracking it, thought he could help. Something flickers across her face. Surprise? Concern? It vanishes before he can be certain. I have not seen any wolves. Another lie. He is sure of it now. Bryn finishes her trading quickly, efficient and practiced. The tavern keeper tries to engage her in conversation, asking about her health, her supplies for winter. She answers in monosyllables, already moving toward the door. Håkon follows her outside. Wait. She does not stop walking. Does not turn. Please. Just a moment of your time. That makes her pause. She faces him in the middle of the snow-covered square, and up close he can see the fatigue in her face, the shadows under her eyes. This is a woman who has not slept properly in days. A woman carrying some burden she will not share. I have told you what I know. Which is nothing. I do not believe you. The bluntness makes her blink. Then her expression hardens. I do not care what you believe. Now if you will excuse me, I have a long walk ahead. Let me help you. At least to the edge of the village. I do not need help. She turns again, and this time Håkon lets her go, watches her stride across the square toward the northern trail. Her basket slung over one shoulder, her spine straight despite obvious exhaustion. Viggo appears at his side. She smells like Eric. I know. Should we follow? Not yet. Håkon's mind works through possibilities, discarding and reconsidering. She is frightened, protective. If they push too hard now, she might take Eric and run somewhere even more remote. Somewhere Håkon might never find them. Better to give her space. Let her think she has escaped scrutiny, then follow once she believes herself safe. But there is something else bothering him. Something beyond the scent of his son on her clothes. When she looked at him, just for an instant, he had felt it. That pull beneath his skin. That recognition his wolf gives when it senses something important. Impossible. She is human. And even if she were not, he is a widower with no interest in taking another mate. His wife died 8 years ago, and that wound has long since scarred over into numbness. This woman means nothing to him except as a potential lead to finding Eric. He repeats that to himself as they make their way back to the tree line, as Vigo organizes the other warriors for the next phase of the search. As Håkon stares north toward the mountains and feels the double pull of his missing son and something else he refuses to name, the sun climbs higher, weak and pale behind clouds. The woman, Bryn, disappears into the forest, following a trail only she seems to know, and Håkon begins to plan how he will reach her cabin before nightfall. In the mountains, Bryn walks faster than she should on icy trails, her heart hammering against her ribs. That man, those golden eyes that saw too much, asked too many questions. He knows something, or suspects. She thinks of the pup waiting in her cabin, curled by the fire, thinks of how it watches her with those same golden eyes. Too intelligent, too aware, and she wonders if she has just lied to the one person who might have answers to the questions keeping her awake at night. Behind her, unseen in the trees, 2 men begin to follow her trail north. Chapter 3. Threshold of Truth. Dawn breaks gray and cold when the knock comes at Bryn's door. She is awake already, has been for hours, unable to sleep with her mind racing through possibilities and fears. The pup, she still thinks of it as a pup, though she knows better now, lifts its head from where it rests by the hearth. Those golden eyes lock on the door, and a low sound rumbles in its chest. Not a growl, a whine. Recognition. Bryn's hand finds the bow she keeps by the door, an arrow already nocked. She does not open it, does not call out, simply waits, heart pounding, for whoever stands on the other side to make the first move. I mean you no harm. The voice is deep, controlled, edged with something that might be desperation. Please, I only want to talk. The man from the village. She recognizes the timbre of his voice, the careful authority in it. He followed her. Of course he did. She had seen it in his eyes yesterday, that determination, that certainty that she was hiding something. Because she is. Go away. I cannot do that. Then we have nothing to discuss. Silence. Long enough that she thinks he might have left. Then, I know my son is here. The words hit her chest hard. Son. Not nephew, as he claimed in the village. Bryn stared at him. You said nephew. I lied. Håkon answered simply. It was the only way to search without raising alarm. The blunt confession unsettled her more than deception ever could. Son. And if this man is the father of the creature sleeping by her fire, then what does that make him? What are you? She asks through the door. Someone who is very tired, very worried, and willing to answer any question you have, if you will just let me see that my boy is safe. The pup makes that sound again, pitched higher now, urgent. It struggles to its feet, favoring the injured leg, and limps toward the door. Bryn makes a decision. Probably a terrible one, but standing here arguing through wood solves nothing. She pulls back the bolt, opens the door just wide enough to see out, arrow still raised. The man stands on her threshold, snow dusting his shoulders and hair. Behind him, taller and broader, stands the red-haired warrior from the tavern. Both have weapons, but neither makes a move to draw them. They simply wait, and in the gray morning light she can see the exhaustion carved into the first man's face, the desperate hope in those 2 familiar golden eyes. He sees the pup. His entire body sags with relief so profound it looks like pain. Eirik, the pup, Eirik, makes a sound somewhere between a whimper and a bark, tries to push past Bryn toward the man. She catches it by the scruff, holds it back, though it struggles against her grip. Stay back, she warns, shifting her aim between the 2 men. Both of you. I do not know what is happening here, but I am not letting you take this animal until I understand. He is not an animal. The man's voice cracks on the words. He is my son. That is impossible. Is it? The challenge hangs in the cold air. Bryn looks at the pup, at the man, at those matching golden eyes, at the intelligence she has been denying for days, the strange behaviors, the too quick healing. Impossible. But staring her in the face anyway. You need to explain. Now, may we come inside? The red-haired warrior speaks for the first time, his accent rougher, more northern. The wind is picking up. There is another storm coming. Bryn hesitates. Every instinct screams at her to refuse, to slam the door, to run. But where would she go? And if these men wanted to harm her, they could have done so already. Could have forced entry while she slept. Instead, they knocked. Asked permission. Showed her courtesy she does not understand. She steps back, lowering the bow, but not the arrow. One wrong move, and I will put this through your eye. Understand. The man nods. Understood. They enter slowly, carefully, the way one approaches a spooked horse. The cabin feels suddenly too small with 3 people and a wolf pup inside it. Bryn backs toward the far wall, keeping her weapon ready, watching as the man drops to his knees in front of Eric. His hands move over the pup's body, checking for injuries with obvious expertise. He finds the splinted leg, touches it gently, and something like anguish crosses his face. Gods. Eric, what did you do? The pup licks his face. The man pulls it, him, into an embrace. And the pup burrows into his chest, making soft sounds of distress and relief. Bryn watches this display of affection between man and animal, and feels her understanding of the world tilt sideways. You said he is your son. Explain that. Make it make sense. The man looks up at her, and she sees him making calculations, weighing risks, deciding how much truth to tell a stranger who has stumbled into secrets she should never have discovered. Finally, he speaks. My name is Håkon. This is Viggo, captain of my guard. We are shifters. My people can take the form of wolves, or of humans as we choose. Eric is 12 years old. He ran from home a week ago. He must have been injured, forced into his wolf form to survive. Shifters. The word sounds like something from old stories, tales told to frighten children. But she is looking at the proof of it. Has been caring for proof of it for nearly a week. That is insane. I know how it sounds. It sounds like a fever dream. And yet you do not truly disbelieve me, do you? Håkon's eyes hold hers. You have been caring for him. You have seen how he understands you, how he heals faster than he should, how he watches you with a person's awareness, not an animal's. He is right. She has seen all of those things, has spent sleepless nights wondering about them. Why did he run? Håkon's expression shudders. A private pain, quickly hidden. That is between my son and me. He ran from you. Yes. And now you want me to simply hand him over so you can take him back to whatever made him desperate enough to flee in the first place? Something flashes in Håkon's eyes. Anger? Shame? Both, perhaps. I want to take my son home. I want to make sure he is safe. The rest we will figure out. Bryn lowers her bow fully for the first time, though she keeps the arrow nocked. How do I know you will not hurt him? You do not. You have only my word, which means nothing to me. I do not know you. True, but you know him. Håkon's hand rests on Eric's head, gentle. Ask him. He will tell you whether he wants to come home or not. He is a wolf. He cannot speak. Watch. Håkon looks at his son, Eirik. You know what she is asking. Do you want to come home, or do you want to stay here? The pup goes very still. His eyes shift between his father and Bryn, and she can see the conflict there. Fear and love, anger and longing. Everything a 12-year-old boy might feel about a father he both resents and needs. Finally, Eric turns and presses his head against Bryn's leg. A clear answer, an impossible choice. Håkon's face goes carefully blank. I see. He is afraid of you, Bryn says quietly. I know. What did you do to him? I tried to keep him safe. Made him train for combat. Pushed him to be strong, to be ready for the threats that would come for him simply because of who he is. She watches him struggle with the words. I was trying to protect him, but I forgot to be his father in the process. He looked away. I told you once I had forgotten how to live. You reminded me, Bryn. Don't let me forget again. The admission hangs heavy in the warming cabin. Outside, wind begins to keen through the trees. The storm Vigo predicted is arriving faster than expected. The captain clears his throat. My king, we should secure shelter before the weather worsens. We will not be staying. Håkon rises, and there is something broken in his posture that was not there before. I will not force Eirik to come home. He gestures to Bryn. You have done well caring for him. Better than I managed, it seems. Wait. The word escapes before Bryn can stop it. You are just going to leave? What choice do I have? He does not want to return with me. I will not drag him back in chains. He is 12 years old. He needs his father. He needs someone who will not turn him into a weapon before he is finished being a child. The wind rattles the shutters. Snow begins to fall harder, visible through the gaps in the wood. Vigo moves to the door, looks out, curses softly. My king, we cannot travel in this. We will not make it back to the tree line. Then we camp nearby. You will stay here. Bryn hears herself say it and wants to call the words back, but it is too late. They are already out, already binding her to this choice. The storm will kill you if you go out there now. I am not sending anyone to die in a blizzard, even if you are, whatever you are. Håkon studies her for a long moment. Why would you help us? Because despite everything, I am apparently an idiot who cannot turn away people in need, even people who can turn into wolves. She sets down her bow with finality. But you stay on that side of the room and I stay on this side. And if either of you makes a threatening move, I will gut you with my knife. Are we clear? Clear. The storm intensifies throughout the morning, howling around the cabin with mindless fury. Bryn keeps her word, maintaining careful distance, though she shares her food and water. Eirik stays close to her, torn between his father's presence and his obvious desire to remain with the woman who saved him. And Håkon watches them both with eyes that hold too much regret and not nearly enough hope. The snow piles higher against the door. The world outside disappears into white. And in the small cabin, 3 humans and 1 wolf wait for the storm to decide their fate. Chapter 4. Shifting Truths. 3 days. The storm rages for 3 full days, turning the world beyond the cabin into a white nightmare of wind and ice. Bryn has weathered mountain blizzards before, but never one this vicious, this determined to bury everything beneath frozen oblivion. And never while sharing her small sanctuary with 2 shifters and their broken family. The tension eases gradually, necessity forcing them into an uneasy cooperation. Håkon helps maintain the fire, his movements economical and practiced. Vigo proves surprisingly useful at repairing the leak in the roof that Bryn has been meaning to fix for months. They eat in shifts, make themselves as unobtrusive as possible given the cramped quarters. But it is the conversations that change everything. On the second night, while Eirik sleeps curled by the hearth, Håkon speaks. His voice is quiet in the darkness, meant only for Bryn, though Vigo surely hears every word from his post by the door. My wife died 8 years ago. Hunters ambushed her caravan. They knew what she was, what we all are. Bryn looks up from the leather she is mending. I am sorry. Eirik was 4. He watched it happen. Håkon's jaw works. I could not protect them. I was 50 miles away, dealing with border disputes, playing king while my family died. When I finally reached them, she was already gone. Eirik was covered in her blood, hiding beneath the wagon, silent. He did not speak for 6 months after. The grief in his voice is old, worn smooth by years of carrying it. But beneath the smoothness, the pain remains raw. After that, I swore I would never fail him again. Would make him strong enough to protect himself. Would train him to survive any threat. She sees Håkon's hands clench. I pushed him too hard. Made him train when he should have been playing. Demanded perfection when he was just a child trying to grieve his mother. Bryn sets down her work. He thinks you see him as a soldier, not a son. Because I do. Did. Håkon closes his eyes. Gods I do not even know anymore. Every time I look at him, I see that 4-year-old boy covered in blood. I see all the ways I failed them both, and I try to make him stronger so I never have to bury him too. but he does not need to be stronger. He needs to be loved. The words land between them, simple and devastating. Håkon looks at her, and something in his expression makes her breath catch. You are right. I know you are right, but I do not know how to be what he needs. I have forgotten how to be anything but afraid. Brynn finds herself moving closer, drawn by the vulnerability in his voice, drawn by recognition. She knows what it means to lose someone, to let fear rule every decision after. I was married once. Henrik. Good man. Strong. She stares into the fire. He died at Iron Ridge. Took an arrow meant for the boy next to him. Died so another wife would not become a widow. I am sorry. I was angry for a long time. At him for being noble. At myself for not being there. At the world for taking him when we had barely begun. She touches the ring she still wears on a leather cord around her neck. I understand fear. I understand pushing people away because losing them hurt too much. Is that why you live alone? That is why I exist. Living is something different. The admission hangs in the warm air. Håkon holds her gaze, and she sees her own loneliness reflected back at her. Two people trying to survive their losses. Two people who have forgotten how to be whole. The moment stretches. Then Eric whimpers in his sleep, and they both turn to look at him. He has nightmares, Håkon says. About his mother. About the blood. So do you. Yes. Brynn makes a decision. Tomorrow when he wakes, you will talk to him. Really talk. Not as a king to his heir, as a father to his son. He may not want to listen. Then you keep trying until he does. The third morning brings a change in the storm. The wind dies to a whisper. Snow still falls, but gently now, without the murderous fury of the previous days. And Eric begins to shift. Brynn wakes to a sound she has never heard before. A crack, sharp and wet, followed by a groan that is neither animal nor fully human. She sits up quickly, reaching for her knife, and sees Eric convulsing on the floor. Håkon is already there, kneeling beside his son. It is all right. You are safe. Let it happen. What is happening to him? Brynn demands. He is shifting back. Håkon's voice remains calm, steady. He hasn't shifted in months, he explained softly to Brynn. The trauma of his mother's death froze that part of him. This is the first time since then. His body has healed enough. He can return to human form now. Will it hurt? Yes. She watches, horrified and fascinated as Eric's body transforms. Fur recedes into skin. Bones reshape themselves with sounds that make her stomach turn. Claws become fingers. The muzzle shortens, flattens, reforms into a boy's face twisted with pain. Then it is over. A 12-year-old child lies naked and shivering where the wolf had been, curled into a tight ball, tears streaming down his face. Håkon pulls off his own cloak, wraps it around Eric. I have you. You are safe now. Father. The word comes out as a sob. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Shh. No apologies. Not now. Brynn grabs blankets, brings them to Håkon. Viggo turns his back, giving the boy privacy. She starts to do the same, but Eric's hand shoots out, catches her wrist. Please do not go. She looks at Håkon, who nods. She settles beside them, and Eric keeps hold of her hand while his body adjusts to its restored form. His skin is feverish. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cold. How do you feel? She asks. Like I was torn apart and put back together wrong. That is normal, Håkon assures him. It will pass. The first shift back is always the hardest. Eric's eyes find his father's face. I should not have run. I should not have given you reason to. Silence. Then, I was afraid. Afraid I would never be good enough, never be strong enough, never be the king you need me to become. Håkon's face crumples. Eric. Son, I do not need you to be a king. I need you to be yourself. I need you to be the boy who laughs at terrible jokes and sneaks extra honey cakes from the kitchen. The boy who is kind to everyone, even when they do not deserve it. That is who I need you to be. But what about when you are gone? What about when I have to lead? Then you will lead. But not yet. Not for many years. Right now you are 12. You are allowed to be 12. Tears spill down Eric's face. I miss her. I miss Mother so much. I know. I miss her too. Every day, father and son hold each other, and Bryn feels her own eyes burn. She looks away, giving them what privacy she can in the small space. Vigo remains at the door, his broad shoulders tense. Even he seems affected by the raw emotion filling the cabin. After a long moment, Eric pulls back. He looks at Bryn. Thank you for saving me, for taking care of me when I was too afraid to come home. You are welcome. I heard Father say you lost your husband. I am sorry. So am I. But I think perhaps we all needed to find each other. Strange as this situation is, Eric manages a weak smile. It is very strange. The storm breaks that afternoon. Sun filters through the clouds for the first time in days, turning the snow-covered world into something almost beautiful. Håkon and Vigo prepare to leave, but the atmosphere has shifted. No longer are they intruders in Bryn's sanctuary. They are something else now. Something undefined. We should return to the fortress, Håkon says. My men will be worried, and we need to get Eric somewhere safe. The word hangs unspoken between them. But Bryn busies herself packing food for their journey, trying to ignore the strange ache in her chest. She has been alone for 2 years. 3 days should not be enough to make her miss people she barely knows. You will come with us. She turns, finds Håkon watching her. What? Come to the fortress. Stay as my guest. You cannot remain here now. Not after what you have learned. You mean because I know your secret? Because you saved my son's life? Because you gave us both something we desperately needed? Because... He stops. Because I would like you to stay. The admission surprises them both. Bryn sees Vigo's eyebrows rise. Sees Eric watching with open hope. I have a life here, she says weakly. Do you? Or do you have existence in solitude? The words echo her own from the night before. She looks around the cabin, at the empty spaces where Henrik's things used to be. At the cold corners, she never bothers to warm. At 2 years of surviving instead of living, I do not know anything about your world. Then learn. What if I do not belong there? What if you do? Outside, the sun climbs higher. The snow sparkles. And Bryn realizes that the storm has brought more than just cold. It has brought possibility. Change. The chance to be something other than the widow in the woods. She meets Håkon's golden eyes. All right, I will come. But only until I decide what I want. Fair enough. They gather their things. Eric, still weak but improving rapidly, dresses in spare clothes Håkon brought. When they step outside, the world is transformed, clean, new, full of paths that did not exist before. Bryn locks her cabin door, uncertain if she will return. Håkon offers his hand to help her through a deep drift, and when their fingers touch, something sparks between them. Something that might be dangerous. Might be wonderful. Definitely something neither of them expected. Chapter 5. Blood and Betrayal. They are halfway back to the cabin to retrieve Bryn's supplies when the attack comes. No warning. No sound beyond the whisper of arrows through cold air. One buries itself in a tree trunk an inch from Håkon's head. Another grazes Vigo's shoulder, drawing blood. Down! Håkon shouts, pushing Eric behind a fallen log. Bryn drops with them, her bow already in hand, scanning the tree line for movement. How many? Vigo asks, his voice tight with pain. 4. Maybe 5. Håkon's eyes glow gold, his wolf rising close to the surface. They have silver-tipped arrows. The words make Bryn's stomach drop. That means they know what you are. Yes. Håkon meets her gaze. This was not random. They were waiting for us. Another arrow slams into the log, splintering wood. Eric flinches, and Bryn sees fear in his young face. Not the terror of a trapped animal, but the calculated understanding of someone who has faced danger before. Too young to know that look. Too old not to wear it. Stay low, Håkon commands. Vigo, can you shift? The silver grazed me. It will burn, but I can manage. The captain's face is already changing, bones beginning to crack and reform. "Father," Eric's voice is small. "I can help. I can fight." "No." The word comes out harsh. Then Håkon softens. "I need you to protect Brynn." "Can you do that?" The boy nods, and Brynn sees something shift in his expression. Purpose replacing fear. His father has given him a task, but one born of trust, not tyranny. Håkon turns to Brynn. "How good are you with that bow?" "Good enough. Can you cover us while we flank them?" "Show me the targets." He points to movement in the trees. 3 men, maybe 4, positioned in a rough semicircle. Professional. Organized. These are not opportunistic bandits stumbling across travelers. These are hunters who knew exactly who they were hunting. "On my mark," Håkon says. Then he shifts, and it is both horrible and magnificent. His body explodes into fur and muscle, bones cracking and reforming in seconds instead of the agonizing minutes it took Eric. A massive wolf stands where the man was, silver-gold fur rippling over heavy shoulders. Viggo completes his own transformation beside him. His wolf is darker, russet red, nearly the size of a small horse. They move as one, breaking from cover in opposite directions. Brynn rises, draws, releases. Her arrow takes one hunter in the shoulder, spinning him around. She knocks another, fires again. This one misses, but it forces a second hunter to dive for cover. "Stay down!" she hisses at Eric, already moving to a new position. The boy follows close, his movements surprisingly quiet for someone so recently injured. The sounds of combat echo through the forest. Snarls and screams, the wet crunch of teeth meeting flesh. Brynn fires steadily, methodically, giving Håkon and Viggo the openings they need to close with their attackers. Then she sees the 5th hunter. He is not aiming at the wolves. He is aiming at Eric. Her arrow is faster. It takes him in the chest before his finger can release. He falls backward, surprise frozen on his face. The battle ends quickly after that. 2 hunters dead, one fleeing through the forest, one captured, pinned beneath Viggo's massive paw, whimpering in terror. Håkon shifts back to human form, unconcerned with his nakedness in the cold. He strides to the captured hunter, crouches down. When he speaks, his voice holds the kind of authority that makes kings. "Who sent you?" The hunter spits blood. "Go to hell, shifter." "Wrong answer." Håkon nods to Viggo, who applies more pressure. The hunter screams. "Let us try again." "Who?" "Sent. You." "Someone from the court," the hunter gasps. "That is all I know. Paid us to watch for a golden wolf traveling with a man and boy. Said to kill all 3. Brynn's blood runs cold. They knew Eric ran. They knew he would be in wolf form. And they knew I would come searching." Håkon's expression darkens. "Someone wanted my son dead and me blamed for his disappearance. Or dead alongside him," Viggo adds, shifting back to human. Blood runs from the graze on his shoulder, mixing with melting snow. "You are hurt." Brynn moves to examine the wound. The flesh around it is already inflamed, angry red spreading from the shallow cut. "Silver poisoning," Viggo explains through gritted teeth. "It will pass, but it burns. I have something for that." Brynn pulls herbs from her pack, the ones she always carries. Comfrey to draw out poison. Yarrow to prevent infection. She works quickly, cleaning and binding the wound while Håkon questions the hunter further. But the man knows nothing more. Just a hired blade following orders, paid in gold. Promised more when the job was complete. "What should we do with him?" Viggo asks. Håkon's face is cold. "He tried to kill my son." "Father." Eric steps forward. His voice shakes but holds steady. "He is helpless now. We are not murderers. He would have murdered you, but he did not. And we are not like them." As something passes between father and son, a test perhaps, or a teaching moment. Finally, Håkon nods. "Bind him. We take him back to the fortress for questioning. Perhaps he will remember more under proper interrogation." They tie the hunter securely, gag him to prevent warnings to any allies. Viggo shoulders him easily despite his injury. Brynn finishes gathering her supplies from the cabin, moving quickly, aware that the one who escaped might return with reinforcements. As they travel, Håkon moves close to her. Thank you for saving Eirik. Again, you do not need to keep thanking me. I do, actually. That arrow was meant for his heart. I know. She had seen it, had acted on instinct, the way she does when treating a wound or gathering herbs. No thought, just motion. You are a remarkable woman, Bryn. The words warm her more than they should. I am a woman who knows which end of an arrow goes where. You are more than that. His hand brushes hers as they walk. And I think you know it. She has no response to that. Or rather, she has too many responses, and none of them are safe to voice. The journey takes 2 more days. Eirik walks beside them, still weak, but improving with the resilience of youth. Bryn treats Viggo's shoulder each morning and night, watching the silver burns slowly heal, and she becomes aware of the growing connection between herself and Håkon, the way he positions himself between her and any potential threat, the way his eyes track her movements whenever she is out of his sight, the way conversation comes easily between them, as though they have known each other for years instead of days. Dangerous. This is dangerous. She is human. He is a king of creatures she did not believe existed a week ago. There is no future in this attraction, but knowing that does not make her heart beat any slower when he looks at her. On the evening of the 2nd day, as they make camp in a sheltered hollow, Håkon pulls her aside. When we reach the fortress, there will be questions. The council will want to know why I brought a human into our home. And what will you tell them? The truth. That you saved the heir's life. That you have knowledge of healing we can use. That you have earned sanctuary. Will they accept that? They will accept what I tell them to accept. I am still king, but uncertainty flickers in his eyes, though I suspect there will be resistance. Someone on the council sent those hunters. Someone wanted my son dead. Then we walk into a nest of vipers. Yes, but we do it together. He takes her hand, and this time the touch is deliberate, claiming, I will keep you safe, Bryn. I swear it. She should pull away, should maintain distance, should remember that this man is not Henrik, will never be Henrik, could never be hers. Instead, she holds on. I hope you are as good at keeping promises as you are at being stubborn, she says. I am exceptional at both. Despite everything, she smiles. Then I suppose we will find out. They travel on, into the unknown, into danger, into a world where nothing Bryn knew before still applies. She carries her bow and her herbs and her grief, and tries not to think about the way Håkon's hand feels in hers, tries not to hope for things that cannot be. The fortress appears on the 3rd morning, rising from the mountainside impossible and immense, stone walls thick as houses, towers that scrape the sky, a stronghold built to withstand armies, and somewhere inside, a traitor waits. Chapter 6. Fortress of Shadows. The gates open before them with a groan of iron and wood. Guards bow as Håkon passes, their relief at seeing him alive palpable in the air. But their eyes linger on Bryn, and she feels the weight of their scrutiny. Human. Outsider. Threat. She keeps her chin up, her hand near her knife as they cross the courtyard. The fortress is larger than she imagined, sprawling and ancient, carved from the mountain itself. Shifters in both forms move through the space with easy confidence, some stopping to stare at the strange woman walking beside their king. Ignore them, Håkon murmurs. They will adjust. Will they? Eirik walks close to her other side, and she notices how his presence legitimizes hers. The heir trusts this human. That counts for something. The council chamber is a vast hall of stone and timber. Men and women wait there, their faces carefully neutral as Håkon enters. But Bryn sees the calculations happening behind their eyes. One man stands, tall and gray-haired, with a beard that reaches his chest. My king. Thank the gods you have returned safely. We feared the worst when you disappeared without word. Circumstances were urgent, Ulfric. Håkon's tone is cool. My son's life was at stake. Of course. Ulfric's gaze slides to Eirik, then to Bryn. And you found him. Though I see you have brought back more than we expected. This is Bryn. She saved Eirik's life when he was injured and lost in the mountains. She has earned our protection and our gratitude. A woman with silver-shot black hair leans forward. A human. You brought a human into the heart of our stronghold. I brought someone who risked her own safety to care for a creature she did not understand, who showed compassion when she could have shown fear. Hakon's voice hardens. I will not apologize for honoring that debt. The debt is acknowledged, Ulfric says smoothly. But surely the woman would be more comfortable in the village below, among her own kind. I decide who is comfortable where. Hakon pulls out a chair, gestures for Brynn to sit. She does, feeling every eye in the room on her. Brynn will remain here as my guest. Any objections can be directed to me. Silence. Then a younger man speaks, his accent marking him as northern-born. My king, we do not question your judgment. But the timing is concerning. The heir disappears. You vanish to find him. And when you return, you bring an outsider who now knows our greatest secret. Her knowledge changes nothing. She cannot reveal what no one would believe. Forgiveness, my lord, but she could try. Better she remain here where we can watch her. The implication is clear. They mean to keep her prisoner, whether Hakon agrees or not. Brynn rises slowly. I have no intention of speaking about what I have learned. I understand the danger it would bring to your people. She meets each council member's gaze. But I also will not be held captive, because you are afraid. I saved your heir's life. I fought beside your king against hired killers. I have earned the right to choose my own path. Hakon's hand finds her shoulder. Brynn is under my protection. Anyone who harms her answers to me. Are we clear? Murmurs around the table, grudging nods. But Brynn sees the resentment. She has made enemies simply by existing in their world. The council moves on to other matters. The attack in the forest, the hired hunters, the implications of someone inside the court coordinating Eric's death. Brynn listens, trying to follow the complex politics, trying to understand who might benefit from a dead heir and a vulnerable king. Ulfric seems too obvious. He leads the opposition, questions Hakon's decisions. But would he truly kill a child to achieve power? A woman named Signa, ancient and white-haired, watches Brynn with curious eyes rather than hostile ones. When discussion turns to Viggo's injuries, she stands. I should examine the captain's wounds. Silver poisoning can turn septic if not properly treated. Brynn has been treating him, Hakon says. She has skill with herbs and healing. Sina's eyebrows rise. Has she now? The old woman approaches Brynn directly. What did you use for the silver burns? Comfrey to draw out the poison, yarrow to prevent infection, honey as a binding agent. And for the pain? Willow bark tea. I wanted something stronger, but we had limited supplies. Sina nods slowly. You know your craft. Not many humans would think to treat silver poisoning. Her eyes narrow with interest. Perhaps you would join me in examining the captain later. I would like to see your techniques. I would be honored. The offer surprises everyone. Sina is clearly respected. If she accepts the human healer, others might follow. The council adjourns without resolution. Hakon leads Brynn to chambers in the East Tower, rooms larger than her entire cabin. A fire burns in the hearth. Furs cover the bed. Thick glass fills the windows. You are giving me royal quarters, Brynn says. I am giving you the safest rooms in the fortress. These chambers share a wall with mine. If anyone tries to harm you, I will hear it. You truly think someone would try? I think someone sent hunters to kill my son. That same person will not be pleased you helped us survive. Hakon moves to the window. You are in danger here, Brynn. Then why did you bring me? Because you would be in more danger alone. At least here I can protect you. She moves to stand beside him. Snow begins to fall again, soft and steady. You cannot protect everyone, Hakon. You learned that when your wife died. His jaw tightens. Do not. Do not what? Speak truth? She turns to face him. You are terrified of losing another person you care about. So you push them away or pull them too close. There is no middle ground with you. You do not understand. I understand grief. I understand guilt. Her hand finds his. But you cannot keep living in fear. It will destroy you. And if I let myself care again? If I let you become important to me? What happens when you are ripped away like she was? Then you grieve, and you survive, because that is what we do. She squeezes his hand. But hiding from life is not the same as living it. He looks at her, and something breaks in his expression. I have been alone for so long. I know. So have I. The space between them shrinks. His hand cups her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. This is unwise. Probably. You are human. I am king. There is no future in this. I know. And yet I cannot seem to stay away from you. He kisses her, and it is hunger and desperation. Loneliness finding solace in unexpected places. Bryn responds without thinking, her body remembering what it means to be desired, to be wanted. When they break apart, both are breathing hard. That was definitely unwise. Bryn manages. Spectacularly so. But Håkon is smiling, and it transforms his face. A knock at the door breaks the moment. Viggo's voice carries through. My king. Sina wishes to examine my wounds. She requests Bryn's presence. Go, Håkon says softly. Make an ally of the old healer. We will need her support in the days ahead. Bryn follows Viggo through torchlit corridors to Sina's chambers. The old woman's rooms smell of herbs and smoke, dried plants hanging from every beam. It reminds Bryn of her own cabin. Sit, Sina commands Viggo, then turns to Bryn. Show me what you have been doing. Bryn unwraps the bandages, revealing angry red flesh. The silver burns are healing, but slowly. Sina examines the injury. You have done well. The infection has not spread, but there is something you do not know. She moves to her shelves, selects a dark bottle. Silver disrupts our natural healing. But there is an herb that grows only in the deepest caves. Moonshade, we call it. Mixed properly, it can help shifter flesh repair itself even after silver damage. The scent is strange, earthy and bitter, with an undertone of something sweet. I have never heard of such a plant, Bryn admits. You would not have. It does not grow in the sunlit world. Sina begins preparing a poultice. Tell me, child, do you know what you have stumbled into? I know someone wants Eric dead. I know Håkon is trying to find out who. And do you know why you are truly here? The question makes Bryn pause. Because Håkon wants to protect me. Perhaps. Sina's eyes are ancient and knowing. Or perhaps because old stories speak of a human woman who will change everything. A healer who knows herbs and has a warrior's heart. That is ridiculous. I am just a widow who happened to find an injured wolf. Are you? Sina applies the poultice to Viggo's shoulder. Or are you exactly where you are meant to be? Bryn has no answer. Does not want to consider what it might mean. But as she helps Sina finish treating Viggo, she cannot shake the feeling that she has stepped into something far larger than she understands. Something that started the moment she pulled that golden pup from the trap. Chapter 7. Poison and Proof. 3 days pass in the fortress, and Bryn begins to understand the rhythms of shifter life. The way conversations stop when she enters rooms. The careful distance most maintain. The exceptions stand out. Sina, who teaches her about shifter physiology. Eric, who seeks her company. And Håkon himself, whose stolen moments grow longer and more dangerous. On the 4th morning, Bryn wakes to find Håkon in her chambers. He sits by the fire, but something is wrong. His skin holds a grayish pallor. Sweat beads his forehead despite the cool air. Håkon? She crosses to him quickly. What is wrong? Nothing. Just tired, but his hand shakes when he tries to wave her away. Bryn grabs his wrist, feels his pulse. Too fast. Too weak. She pulls down his collar, examines his skin. There, at the base of his throat, tiny red spots. Petechiae. Signs of blood not clotting properly. How long have you felt ill? A few days. It is nothing. This is not nothing. I have seen these symptoms before. A trapper in the mountains, slowly poisoned by his wife. She used monkshood. Small doses over weeks. His eyes widen. That is impossible. I have guards taste everything. What about wine? Mead? Sealed bottles that guards would not test? The private stores. Only the king and council have access. Then someone on the council is poisoning you, and they have been doing it for weeks. Håkon tries to stand, but his legs give out. Bryn catches him, staggers under his weight. We need Sina. Now. She gets him to the bed, then runs to the door. A guard stands outside, expression shifting from bored to alarmed. Get Sina. Tell her the king is ill and I suspect poisoning. Move. The guard hesitates. Takes orders from a human. Now, unless you want to explain to Eric why you let his father die. The guard runs. Sina arrives within minutes. Eric and Vigo close behind. The old healer takes one look at Håkon and curses. Monk's hood mixed with liquid silver. I can smell it now that I know to look. Sina pulls bottles from her bag. How did you recognize it? The petechiae, the tremor. I have seen it before. You saved his life. Another day and this would be irreversible. Sina begins preparing a counteragent. Eric, I need fresh water from the spring. Vigo, find out what Håkon ate and drank yesterday. Bring me samples. They scatter. Bryn stays, holding Håkon's hand as Sina works. The monk's hood is rare. The arrows had been meant for my son, Håkon said grimly. The poison was meant for my throne, Bryn explains. It grows in my mountains. Someone knew where to find it. The hunters we captured, Håkon says through gritted teeth. They died in their cells before we could question them. Poison again. I thought it was to silence them. I did not realize the assassin was already moving against me. Sina forces Håkon to drink something vile. Color begins returning to his face, though he still looks desperately ill. The antidote will purge most of the poison, but you must identify the source. Sina is firm. No more food or drink from common stores. Nothing that passes through anyone's hands but those you absolutely trust. They work through the morning, testing samples. The wine is clean. The meat is clean. But the tea, a special blend that only Håkon drinks, reeks of poison when properly examined. Monk's hood and silver, mixed to mask the taste. Signa holds up a sample. Clever. Most shifters would not notice until too late. Who prepares the tea? Bryn asks. Different servants. But the tea itself comes from one source. Håkon's face hardens. Ulfric gave me the blend months ago. Said it would help with stress. The council chamber erupted into overlapping arguments. Disbelief, denial, fear. It took Håkon's roar to silence them. Enough. I will not debate treachery while poison still runs through my veins. Only then did the guards move. The name falls like a blade. Ulfric, the council leader. The one who benefits most if Håkon and Eric both die. We need proof, Vigo says. We cannot accuse a council member without evidence. Then we set a trap, Bryn says. Håkon recovers publicly. Makes it known he is drinking the tea again. Ulfric will panic. Will try to finish what he started. And we will be waiting. That puts you at risk. Håkon objects. Everything puts me at risk. At least this way we end the threat. Sina nods. The girl is right. Flush the viper from his hole. They plan through the afternoon. Håkon will appear to recover. Will resume drinking the tea publicly. Bryn will remain visible and vulnerable. Vigo will watch Ulfric's movements. And Eric will remain guarded. I can fight, the boy protests. You are 12, Håkon says gently, and you are what they want most. So you will stay safe. Please. The please does it. Eric nods. 2 days pass. Håkon performs his recovery beautifully, drinking the poisoned tea where council members can see, then taking Sina's antidote in private. He grows weaker with each dose but hides it well. The answer comes on the third night. Vigo catches a servant sneaking into Håkon's chambers with fresh tea. Under questioning, the terrified man breaks immediately. He was paid by a merchant. Paid to ensure this particular blend reached the king each morning. The merchant, when dragged before Håkon, reveals his employer quickly. Ulfric bought the monk's hood. Ulfric provided detailed instructions. Ulfric promised gold and favor when the king was dead. The council is summoned at dawn. Ulfric arrives confident, unaware his conspiracy has collapsed. When Håkon presents the evidence, the man barely flickers. A merchant's testimony? Easily bought. You have no real proof. I have this. Bryn steps forward, holding a leather journal. I found it in your chambers. A full accounting of payments. Names of every hunter you hired. Instructions for the poisoning. all in your own hand. She had searched his rooms the previous afternoon, Vigo standing guard. The journal had been hidden well, but not well enough. Ulfric's composure cracks. You had no right. You tried to murder a 12-year-old boy. You poisoned your king. Bryn's voice is cold. You wanted me gone because I might discover your secrets. You were right to be afraid. Guard sees Ulfric. Other names from the journal are called. 3 more council members are arrested, faces pale with shock. Håkon stands, and despite his weakened state, his presence fills the hall. You sought to end my line through murder and treachery. There is only one punishment for this crime. The council will never accept. Ulfric begins. The council will accept what justice demands. Håkon's eyes glow gold, and justice demands blood. The execution happens at dawn the next day. Bryn does not watch, but she hears the howls echoing through the fortress. 4 traitors torn apart by the wolves they sought to control. It should horrify her. Instead, she feels only relief that the threat is ended. Håkon finds her after, still weak but alive. He pulls her into his arms, and for a long moment, they simply hold each other. Survivors of a storm neither expected. Thank you, he whispers, for seeing what no one else saw, for saving my life. You are welcome, though I hope never to test for poison again. I will do my best to avoid being poisoned. For you. She laughs despite everything. What happens now? Now we rebuild. Establish a council we can trust. Make sure Eric is safe. He pulls back to look at her. And I would very much like you to stay. As what? Your human curiosity? As someone I cannot imagine being without. The words hang between them, full of promise and complication. Bryn knows she should be sensible, should remember all the reasons this cannot work. But standing in Håkon's arms, feeling alive for the first time in years, she finds she does not care about sense. Then I will stay, she says. For now. For now is enough. They stand together as dawn breaks over the mountains. Around them, the fortress begins to wake. A new council will be formed, a new era begun. And Bryn realizes that somewhere between saving a wounded pup and exposing a traitor, she has found something she thought lost forever, a place to belong. Chapter 8. Moon's Gift. 2 months pass in the fortress, and winter begins its slow retreat. Ice melts from the battlements. Snow turns to slush in the courtyards, and Bryn finds herself transformed in ways she never imagined. The new council accepts her presence, if not warmly, then at least without open hostility. Sina has taken her on as a formal apprentice, teaching her the deeper mysteries of shifter healing. Eirik has grown confident again, laughing more, training without fear, and Håkon has become something she never expected to find after Henrik. Not a replacement. Never that, but something new. Something that makes her heart race when he enters a room. They have not spoken of the future, have not defined what exists between them, but the looks exchanged across the council chamber speak volumes. The way his hand finds hers when they walk the battlements, the stolen kisses in shadowed corridors. It cannot last. She knows this. She is human. He is king. The gulf between them is vast. On a morning when the first hints of green show through melting snow, the council convenes. Håkon stands at the head of the table, his recovered strength evident. The traitors are gone. The council is renewed. But questions remain. His golden eyes find Bryn. Questions about what comes next. Murmurs around the table. Everyone knows what he means. The human woman who saved the king, who exposed the conspiracy, who has become far more than a guest. My lord, an older woman speaks carefully. We are grateful for Bryn's service, but her continued presence raises concerns. She knows our secrets, and she is human. The law is clear. The law was written when humans were enemies, Håkon counters. Old instincts warred with new understanding. The king in him knew the law, but the man beside her had already chosen differently. Bryn has proven herself friend and ally. She has earned a place among us. A place as what, precisely? Another council member asks. She cannot be one of us. The bloodline does not work that way. Sina rises slowly, commanding attention. Perhaps it is time we spoke of older laws, older truths. Every eye turns to the ancient healer. She looks at Bryn. There are stories, from before the Great Separation. Stories of humans who proved themselves through deed and courage. Who were offered a choice. The gift of the moon, Håkon says quietly. I thought it was legend. Most legends contain seeds of truth. Sina moves around the table. When a human shows the heart of a wolf, when true love exists between human and shifter, the moon goddess may grant transformation, may allow the human to become what they were always meant to be. Bryn's breath catches. Sina mentioned something once. Old stories about humans and the moon's blessing. I thought she was teasing. I am saying the possibility exists, but it is not guaranteed. The ritual is dangerous. Many humans have died attempting it. The body must accept the change or be destroyed by it. And if it works, then you would be fully shifter, able to shift forms, part of the pack, able to stand beside Håkon as equals. The temptation is immediate and overwhelming. To be part of this world truly. To have a future with Håkon that does not end in her aging and dying while he remains young. But the cost. The risk of death. I need time to think, Bryn says. Håkon crosses to her, takes her hands. You do not have to do this. I want you exactly as you are, but you are immortal. Or close enough. I will age. I will die. You will watch it happen. Then I will treasure every moment we have. That is not enough. Not for me. She meets his eyes. I have spent 2 years existing instead of living. I do not want to go back to that. I want more. I want everything. Even if it kills you? Yes. The word hangs between them. Håkon's face twists with emotion. Fear and hope and desperate love all mixed together. When? He asks roughly. Sina answers. The ritual must be performed under a full moon. The next one rises in 3 days. 3 days. Barely any time at all to prepare. To say goodbye to her humanity if the ritual fails. Eirik finds her on the 2nd day. The boy sits beside her on the battlements, watching the mountains. Are you afraid? He asks. Terrified. Good. That means you understand what you are risking. He looks at her with eyes far older than 12. But I think you are brave enough. You saved me when I was lost. Maybe the moon will save you when you need saving. And if she does not, then my father will be heartbroken. And I will miss you terribly. Eirik takes her hand. But I think you were meant to find me that day in the snow. Meant to be here. Meant to be part of our family. The words break something open in her chest. Family. She has not had that in so long. The night of the full moon arrives. Bryn stands in the ritual chamber deep beneath the fortress. Stone walls carved with ancient symbols. A circle of silver on the floor. Sina and the council arranged around the perimeter. And Håkon, his face pale with fear he cannot hide. Last chance to change your mind, Sina says gently. No. Bryn steps into the circle. I am ready. The ritual begins with words in a language she does not know. Sina's voice rises and falls, calling on powers older than memory. The moon, visible through an opening in the stone ceiling, bathes everything in silver light. Then the pain starts. It feels like being torn apart from the inside. Her bones crack and reform. Her skin burns as though dipped in fire. She screams, cannot help it, and hears answering howls from the shifters around her. This is dying. This is what death feels like. She tries to hold on to herself. Tries to remember who she is. Bryn. Widow. Healer. The woman who saved a golden wolf pup in a blizzard. The woman who chose to be brave, but the pain overwhelms everything. She loses herself in it. Then, through the agony, she feels it. A presence. Ancient and vast. The moon herself, or some echo of her. The presence wraps around Bryn's fracturing consciousness and asks a question without words. Do you choose this? Do you accept the gift and all it means? Yes. With everything she is, Bryn chooses. Chooses life, chooses love, chooses the future she wants. The presence accepts her answer. Power floods through her, rewriting her at the deepest level. Then the pain peaks, crests, and suddenly stops. She collapses to the stone floor, gasping. Her body feels wrong, different. She tries to stand and stumbles on limbs that bend differently. Easy. Håkon is there, his hands gentle. Do not try to move yet. Let your body adjust. Brynn looks down at herself and sees silver fur. Paws instead of hands. A tail. She has become a wolf. The transformation worked. She tries to speak, manages only a whine. Panic flares. Breathe, Sina commands. Your human form is still there. You must learn to find it. Focus on your hands. Remember what they felt like. Remember being human. Brynn tries. Focuses on memories of her hands. The shift happens faster than she expects. Fur recedes. Bones crack back into human configuration. She gasps as she reforms, naked and shaking on the cold stone. Håkon wraps a cloak around her, pulls her into his arms. You did it. Gods, you actually did it. It worked? Her voice is hoarse. It worked. You are one of us now. Around the circle, the council members shift to wolf form and back, an acknowledgement of her acceptance. Sina smiles. Your wolf is silver. Unusual. A mark of the moon's particular favor. The days that follow are a blur of learning. How to control the shift, how to run on 4 legs, how to hunt, to fight. Brynn throws herself into it with determination. And through it all, Håkon is there. Teaching, encouraging, loving her with an openness he was too afraid to show before. 1 month after the ritual, under spring flowers blooming in the fortress gardens, Håkon makes his declaration before the assembled court. Brynn has proven herself in every way that matters. She saved my son. She saved my life. She exposed traitors and faced death to become one of us. His voice carries across the crowd. I claim her as my mate, as Luna Queen, as my equal in all things. The proclamation is met with cheers. Eirik grins widely. Signa nods approval. And Brynn, who came to the mountains seeking only herbs for a fever, finds herself standing at the center of a new life. That night, they run together under the stars. Håkon gold and silver, Eirik bright gold, and Brynn gleaming ice silver. 3 wolves racing through the forest, a family forged not by blood, but by choice. When they finally stop on a ridge overlooking the valley, all 3 shift back to human. Håkon pulls Brynn close, and she rests her head against his shoulder. Thank you, he says quietly, for not giving up, for choosing this, for choosing us. There was never really a choice. Not once I got to know you both. She looks up at him. This is where I belong. You are sure? No regrets? Only that I cannot go back and tell my younger self to stop mourning and start living sooner. Håkon laughs and kisses her. In the distance, Eirik makes exaggerated gagging sounds, and they break apart laughing. They make their way back to the fortress, as dawn paints the sky gold and pink. Brynn walks between Håkon and Eirik, their hands linked, and realizes that grief does not last forever. That loss can give way to new beginnings. That sometimes, saving a wounded wolf pup in a blizzard leads to finding the family you never knew you needed. The snow has melted. Spring has come, and Brynn is finally, truly home.